Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Today we are going to be talking about the moments that I don't share and tapping into the magic within them. So I just wrapped up my 31-day challenge for January. I did a 10-minute video for every day except for on Tuesdays, which were about 20-minute videos. The entire experience was a challenge. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was really hard to consistently show up and to just the process of making videos is challenging. The editing, going through and putting in all the little words on the screen, putting the bells in and adding the music. And the thing that really challenged me was feeling like my practice wasn't interesting enough to put out there like that. There's 1,000,001 people doing yoga content on YouTube, and there's definitely the feeling that, they're doing exciting poses and they're more flexible and they have all of this experience and, they've been doing it for longer. And I had my moment of being like, I'm just doing the same things over and over again every single day. And like, I'm not even, flexibility. I'm not very flexible. I have very tight hamstrings. My balance is whatever. And I felt like my practice was very basic. And I was really getting down on myself about it. That was the ego talking. And that was me completely missing the point of the whole channel. And a yoga practice in and of itself, it's not meant to be fun to look at or to watch. It's not for entertainment. The whole point was moving in a way that felt good to my body and giving my body what it needed. And I forgot about that. I got wrapped up in, being interesting enough. There were also moments where my personal life became a little bit of a hindrance, I guess. I don't know. We don't like to talk about personal stuff on here, but also I do anyway, all the time. There were moments where my anxiety got really high, and when I stepped onto my mat, I had to edit out of some of the videos, especially the 20-minute ones where I'm actually talking. And I had to edit out where I was just overwhelmed, and I didn't have a concrete plan when I stepped onto the mat. That was something that I really wanted to do for myself, was to just show up and listen to my body and do what felt authentic to me. And because I didn't have that safety net of a pre-planned flow, my mind was like racing. So what am I going to do next? What is this? How am I going to go here? And where am I starting? And there were literally every single Tuesday video, I had to stop at some point in the beginning, take a breath, close my eyes, and figure out what I wanted to do. Just listen to my body, what was feeling tight, what was sore, what did I want to stretch. And I also really had to actually practice what I preach and set an intention for the practice and say, I'm just going to do what feels good today, or I'm going to do what I can do today. And there was also a lot of releasing control, because January was tough and there was a lot of things that were out of my control. And I was overwhelmed, and I used my mat the way that it was meant to be used, as an oasis away from that panicked, stressed out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Energy. And I cut it out of all of my videos, but as I was editing, I could see the moment where I put away everything else and just shrunk my universe down to the four corners of my mat. And by the end of the practice, like, my voice was different. The way that I was speaking, I was like a different person. And every single time, every video, I was like, worked. It literally works. And that for me is huge. I always talk about, using your mat as an escape, using it as a way to work on something small and leave the big stuff behind. That's my number one takeaway from yoga at all times, is always either breaking down a larger problem, building up the skills to solve a larger problem, or to just face something big. And that's the thing that I wish more people embraced when it comes to yoga. A lot of people, they start doing yoga because they see beautiful practices and people and beautiful poses, and they're flowy, and it looks like art and dancing, and it's so pretty. And when they get onto the mat, that's what they're looking for, that's what they're trying to get to, and that's what they're trying to achieve. And honestly, whatever gets somebody onto the mat, great. But I feel like if that's the approach that you take, then you will find yourself being disappointed in your practice. You will find yourself feeling like I said in the beginning, I'm not flexible enough, or my moves aren't as fluid, or I'm not doing anything that's visually impressive. Versus if you show up to your mat with the intention of connecting with yourself, getting to know yourself, learning how to listen to yourself and what you need, and actually practicing the unity aspect of yoga, bringing together your mind, your body, and your soul, and allowing them to learn the same language. My stomach is growling. I'm not hungry, I literally just ate, so I'm hoping it's not that loud, but it probably is. My stomach is loud. I just forgot what I was talking about. The unity, right? while I'm all for anyone getting pulled onto the map by whatever means, I feel like the reason that you show up should be is for you. Do it for you. That's the reason I have this whole channel. I started this channel for me. It was a way for me to dig into my own mind and connect with myself in a way that was a little bit more outside of myself, and it grew into more, and I'm so glad that it did. But what always ends up happening is I always return to the reason that I started, which was for me. If I can convince even one person to face themselves in even one of those 10-minute videos, just spending 10 minutes moving their body and just accepting and allowing whatever their body does or doesn't do, and not looking at it with judgment, but just seeing what you're capable of. I'm all for the picture perfect poses. I think it's beautiful and I always admire it. And it's cool, of course, to be able to do a handstand or go full scorpion or whatever. It's so cool. And of course I want to do those things. But I really love that I return to the basics, and I love approaching familiar poses with my current perspective, because I am never the same person twice. I'm lucky if I'm the same person going to bed as I am when I wake up in the morning. It's rare, but it happens. I can do the same thing 1,000 times, and it will be different each of those 1,000 times because I am different. I can never get bored of doing the same thing because I'm not the same person. I don't have the same perspective. I am not dealing with the same circumstances. I like that your yoga practice is sort of the same thing. It's the same mat, but all of those circumstances change what actually happens when you get there. I'm hoping this makes sense. I feel like I went here, there, and everywhere. That's my mind. All those moments that I didn't show, where I was stuttering, saying the wrong, left, right, back, up, down, whatever. Just those moments where I went from a tangled up mess to a nice, smooth line. That's magic to me. And even though I spared everyone that watched those videos from seeing that, I still think it's important to acknowledge its existence. I show up on my mat a mess more times than I don't. That's who I am. I love that I have my mat to be the place where I can show up and be a mess, because there aren't many places outside of it that I feel like I'm allowed to. I think it's really important to embrace the magic in having a place where you can show up and be a mess and leave somewhat put together, at least temporarily, however long it lasts, you know? And maybe that's not yoga. Maybe that's running, taking a walk, painting, making music, dancing, having a conversation with someone who knows you better than anyone else in the whole entire world. Whatever that thing is for you, I hope that you will take a moment to appreciate the magic in it. That is magic, to be able to go from a state of stress and disarray and confusion, panic, all of those negative, bundled up feelings, into have a place to go where you can undo all of those knots. That is magic. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has the ability to sit with the negativity and work through it that way. Not even that they even have a place. They might not even have the ability to do it. Like, they can't face that. There are people who live that way. And if you are lucky enough to have the strength and the grace to meet yourself in that mess and be able to work through it and transform that, be grateful for that magic. That's what I have for today. Thank you for sitting with me. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you are well. I hope that you are being kind to yourselves and to one another. And I hope that you will find time to embrace the magic in your life in one way or another.